Hello, everyone. Hi, guys. I am here with my amazing client, Katy. Katy, I'm going to miss you so much. But Katy,
Oh,
over the last couple of years, we have worked together. She has gone from suffering with long COVID, feeling completely controlled by food, stuck in cycles of overeating and fatigue, and honestly, just not trusting herself at all around food and just in life and being able to get up and get out of bed and grab the day, right? To she's dropped well over 20 pounds, in control around food and living her life without constantly thinking about food and stressing about it. And I would really love to talk today, talk to you guys with Katy today about what's actually helped her get there. And she's going to share some of her favorite tips. I don't know what they're going to be, so she might be giving away my biggest secrets. Who knows? So before we start, Katy, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. It's been one hell of a journey, and I mean, we first started working together in 2024, and I haven't been able to get rid of you since. And it's been such a beautiful pleasure to be rocking alongside you on this journey. So let's just get into it. Like, what was life like for you when we first started working together?
yeah, when you were just describing all of that, it's really strange to think that that was me like 2 to 3 years ago. I was kind of struggling with different health issues, symptoms of which, fatigue, breathlessness, just going up the stairs, like a lot of things that someone in their 30s with two young kids doesn't want to be suffering with. Um, Also just, like a lot of people, wasn't eating very well either. I never drank water. I didn't really do much exercise outside of like maybe 5,000 steps every day, which I wasn't even monitoring or doing intentionally. Um, and I really wanted things to change. I wanted to kind of live a better and more healthy life and be able to make the most of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it's crazy to think back then what was going on, and you were dealing with things like constantly thinking about food, strong evening cravings as well, stuck in
Yes,
all or
so
nothing
I was a
cycles
massive
and perfectionism.
snacker. Loved
Yeah.
anything that was salty or sugary, massive snacker. I could just eat and eat and eat. It's like I had no like cue to tell me when to stop eating, which pretty much I think started in kind of COVID lockdown really before I got long COVID. But obviously, eating that way doesn't help health conditions either. So it all very much linked into one another, but kind of sitting in the house day after day with, well, at the time I had a very young baby, and then I had like a 5 year old, just kind of sitting and snacking, and I think kind of like eating became my hobby in lieu of going out the house much, which sounds really sad now, but I think a lot of people can relate to that when they were stuck in with, COVID. And after lockdown ended, I never really kind of gave up that bad habit. I never really got out of that. I still carried on kind of snacking a lot, eating a lot. So yeah.
Mm. So that lifestyle of snacking kind of just crept in for you. So it came in during COVID, which kind of was the make or break for a lot of people, I feel like was a crazy period. But that crept in and then it stuck around. So it kind of became just a cycle, an all or nothing cycle that you were stuck in.
Pretty much, and I would just be kind of like looking for snacks and eating all the time, really. But not
Mm,
doing any more exercise, and not it wasn't like healthy snacks, wasn't healthy food, more takeout, all those kind of things. I wasn't drinking any more water to offset any of it either, so it was just quite an unhealthy lifestyle, and I could definitely feel myself getting more fatigued as well as kind of weight gain and all that comes with it. So I think,
yeah,
starting with
right.
you, there was kind of a few goals really was to just generally get healthier, less tiredness, to move more,
Mm,
and
mm,
obviously to lose weight as well. But there were
mhm,
there were a few different things in there that I wanted to achieve.
mm. And we went from you were also in a place where co long COVID had hit you quite hard, right? Sorry, I can't get my words out. So when we first started
Yeah.
working together, you were in the throes of long COVID. So I remember well,
Yeah.
you just said 5,000 steps, but there was definitely days that you were barely getting 2,000 steps, if I remember
There were
correctly.
days where I
Uh,
would be in bed all day, basically. Yeah. I'd have bad
right.
days and good
Yeah.
days. Good days were still probably not the average person's good day. I'd maybe get a
Hmm.
really short walk around the block. Bad days where I just wouldn't get out of bed at all.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, so
Mm.
very, like very not active at all. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So not active at all, feeling really fatigued, using food to cope, um, with which was encouraging more of the strong cravings, evening binging, or snacking, and all or nothing cycle and perfectionistic cycle. So I know that we've worked a lot on the perfectionism mentality as well. And that's definitely something that has shifted hugely. So with the perfectionism mentality, what was that like for you? Can you describe that?
Yeah, I think this is something that I've always been a little bit a bit bad for in different areas of my life, but wanting not stopping until something's perfect. And if something isn't perfect or I don't get 100% on something, I just want to give it up and move on to something else, rather than sticking at it and accepting that you can achieve things by being 80 or 90% depending on what it is. So even when you and I started working together and say I started tracking some of those habits, if I'd have a day where I didn't hit every single one of those habits, I would feel like I'd failed and that was it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I'd feel like I needed this kind of like 100% clear scoreboard as I saw it mentally, when really life isn't like that. Nobody does everything that they want to do all day, every single day. No, we're not robots, so you can't
Mm,
do that. You need to have that
mm.
freedom to some days be like, actually, I just didn't do this today, but I'm going to get up tomorrow and just do it again and get on with it. It's okay that I missed a day, as long as I'm not then going to
Right.
go and miss 100 days and just give up.
Right. And that was keeping you stuck because if you weren't hitting like a perfect week, it was just taking you back to square one and you found yourself just kind of throwing the towel in a little bit and being like, well, what's the point? Because it's not perfect. So that was definitely some self-sabotage mentality that was keeping you in that like loop in the cycle.
Yeah, 100%. Also affects your self-esteem as well, because then you feel like a failure because you are effectively kind of giving up, even though you've maybe only had a little blip. You're not failing, you're just a normal person. So I think it
Mhm.
affects you mentally as well, as you not achieving what the goals that you want to achieve. So it's kind of two-pronged.
Mm, mm. So we really leaned into that, and we've shifted a lot of things, right? A lot of things have changed, and we were just talking about all of the things that have changed in the last, well, it's a couple of years now, which is amazing. But you have consistently been at least like 20 pounds down for a very long time now, and you have gone up above that, way above that as well in the journey that we've been together. But that's like I feel like the weight loss is always just like a symptom of becoming healthier, but there's so much else that has changed that is more important, I think. And while you came to me for weight loss, so much has shifted, and you were just saying as well, oh my goodness, I'm using all the tools in different areas of my life to improve different areas of my life, so the skills are transferable. But you're listening to your body more. You're more in tune with your body and listening to, okay, what does my body need? What do I need? As opposed to just chasing weight loss or chasing a fad diet and not feeling completely controlled by food anymore. So talk to us
Yeah.
about what's going on for you now.
Gosh, it's hard to know where to start really, but
I like that. That's a
obviously
great start. I don't know where to
I
start.
mean, obviously there is the weight loss, but I think probably after, really just a few months of working with you, that kind of became like more of a lesser goal, which I still achieved, but it just became more apparent to me that what was going on underneath just, oh, I need to lose weight, was more about how I live my life, and I wanna I want to be 90 years old and still kind of have capabilities. I want to retire and not kind of be on a ton of medications or have health issues that come with a really long-term poor diet and mental health as well. So there's just so many things. But I mean, now, just to put it in contrast to how I was when we first started together, I pretty much, without even trying, get at least 9 to 10,000 steps every day. Usually more, but as a minimum, that's what it is. I don't need to even think about it as a habit and kind of force myself to do it anymore because it just comes naturally to me now, which is great. I do other kind of workouts as well. I was able to join a gym, which at my lowest point was not something I thought I'd be able to do again, really, because I was struggling to get out of bed, and now I can actually go to a gym and do workouts. I'm not saying I'm going to be in the strongest woman competition anytime soon, but I can go and do stuff that's good for my body. Um, I sleep better. I'm not on the screen until the second that I go to sleep, which affects a lot of things too. You know, I hydrate. I hydrate more. I plan meals. I naturally know what a good balanced meal is to eat and what to put on my plate without having to think hard about it. I know what a balanced
Mm.
diet looks like for me. So
And just
much.
for anyone who's like wondering what difference a balanced plate actually makes for you, can you share with me like the difference for you between a balanced plate and an unbalanced plate? Like the what changes in your day and your health and your weight when you're making balanced
Yeah.
meals?
So I don't restrict myself. I'm still having a good full plate, a good portion of food. So it's not that now I'm just kind of just eating a side salad every meal, which sometimes people think is what you need to do to like reach a goal weight or be healthy. But I'm having enjoyable meals which have kind of a range of nutrients on them. They're delicious, they're easy to make, which I need because I work full time, I've got two kids, I've got animals, I've got a lot going on, so I haven't got the time to kind of be prepping every single day. Um,
Hmm.
Prepping in advance takes a lot of the mental stress away from you as well. That really helps. And then just generally over time, that just stacks up to you having more energy, because you're eating less, to put it bluntly, rubbish, putting less rubbish into your system. So less fatigue, more mental clarity, just more energy, but still enjoying what I'm eating and feeling like I've eaten enough, not
Yeah.
kind of heavily restricting myself. So you kind of win on all counts, really.
Mm, mm. And that's fuel like that it goes without saying, but that's fueling the easy 10,000 steps that you're taking a day, right? It's meaning that you're not napping throughout the day. It's meaning that you're not feeling totally exhausted because you're trying to diet. Like you're losing weight, you're becoming the healthiest version of you, and that has now just become your default.
Yeah, 100%. And
Amazing.
also not mentally restrictive in that I can only have 3 meals a day and I can't ever have a snack. If I've done a lot of steps or, I don't know, as women, certain times of the month we might get a bit hungry and we might need that extra snack in the day. I listen to my body more now. So if I need a snack because I'm
Mm,
genuinely hungry and it's not just because I want to eat and I want a snack, I will have an extra snack and it won't be just grabbing a bag of crisps or something like that. It will be a balanced snack that will actually satisfy me. It tastes good, and then I'm on my way until my next meal. I don't have to put a ton of thought into it. Um,
mm,
I
mm.
can listen to what my body needs. Some days I don't have a snack at all because I don't need it, and other days I do. So it's nice to have that
Yeah, amazing.
flexibility.
Yeah, and the flexibility and without obsessing about it, right? Flexibility without restriction, without deprivation. And exactly what you said, right? You're navigating things like periods, holidays, meals out, stressful weeks without spiraling as well, which used to be quite a big thing for you, right?
Yeah, 100%. And last month we went on an all-inclusive holiday and the vegan options weren't great. We made the most of it. Not great protein options. We kind of did what we could and found what we could, but I didn't panic about it. I still drank lots of water, we went for lots of walks. I ate the best that I could, and I knew that when I came home, I would just carry on the lifestyle I had before I went on the holiday. It wasn't that I'd failed or, anything had gone wrong. There's probably learnings that I took from it, because it's been a while since I'd been on one of those kind of all-inclusive holidays. I'm used to catering for myself, but I just came home and kind of picked up where I left off, and it was no big deal. I didn't feel like I needed to overeat or overdrink or anything like that.
Brilliant, brilliant. And on that note as well, like you're going to the gym, you're moving your body consistently, and it feels like it's part of your life and not necessarily something that you're forcing yourself to do, which is really cool because when we first started, because you had long COVID, you were struggling to get out of bed most days, right? You were struggling
Mm.
to move your body. And so we've been through this whole transition, and I show people a video of just like this little snippet that where you kind of like went off on a tangent in one of our group coaching calls, and it
Oh
was just such a
yeah.
beautiful moment where you went off on one of our like completely unprompted. It wasn't like this where I'm asking you questions. And that was just at the point where you were planning to go to the gym. So we've been through this whole phase of you going back to fitness and movement in a way that works for you. And I've been able to watch this whole transition from going from not being able to get out of bed to consistently going to the gym by yourself. Like that is a transition and a journey in of itself, right? Because the gym can feel quite
100%.
daunting. It can feel scary, and you can be worried about what's going on. And we've gone through all of that and done all of the mindset behind that and worked through that gradually as well.
Yeah.
So,
When I was in
um,
my early 20s, actually, I tried the gym a few times and just didn't like it. I was having to force myself to go, quit pretty quickly. But
mhm,
now I go with no pressure on myself that I have to stay for a certain amount of time. Or, I mean, I do the best I can, but I don't put a massive amount of pressure on myself that I've got to kind of like stay for an hour or an hour and a half. I go, see how I feel, do what I can, come home, and I really, really enjoy it. I look forward to going, which I never thought I would ever say about the gym, but I actually really enjoy it. I don't have to force myself to go unless, occasionally I'm not in the mood, but it's a part of my day that I really like, and I get a lot out of. I feel good after I've been. So, yeah.
fantastic. So just to recap so far before we go on to the three things that have been the most helpful for you. It sounds like there's been over the last couple of years, like there's been not a huge amount of restriction, not a huge amount of deprivation, just some forward planning. And you're not forcing yourself to do things. Like you're doing things in a way that feels good for you, as opposed to like a diet where you're forced into exercising as much as you can and restricting your diet and cutting things out. So, I mean, yeah, does that sound about right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Amazing, amazing.
100%.
Awesome. So, three things that were the most helpful for you, if you could give anyone some tips.
I'll give three, but I will say there's so many little things that are just amazing that
We
go
don't want to
into
give
this.
away the
But
whole program, do
no,
we?
I don't want to give away everything, so I won't. But I will just say that it's so great. But I will give three. I think the first one is kind of really simple and tangible, and that is the way that you teach the magic meal plates, the way it's split up, the way it's so simple. You don't have to count any calories. You don't have to be going on like MyFitnessPal and entering what you've entered and wasting your day doing that. You can just easily build a plate that is really delicious, suits your tastes, and fills you up, and isn't bad for you and isn't going to rack up the calories. So I actually have that plate kind of printed out on my fridge as a reminder. I probably don't even need it
Two
anymore. In
years
fact, I know I
later.
don't need it anymore, but I still have it there.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's good practice. I still have it there, and it's just so easy to build a meal that way. Because if I think, oh, I want spaghetti bolognese tonight, I'm thinking, well, actually, like what veg am I putting in this, and am I missing anything here? Like, that kind of thing. And it's just such a simple way of putting everything, thinking of building every meal like that. It takes a lot of the thought and effort out of it.
Hmm.
So I think that's the first thing. The second thing for me, and I don't do this anymore, so it's a bit of a strange one to mention, but tracking the habits. And the way you do it is really good because we started together. You just have a few habits that you work on. Um, Kind of let's just change a few things. Let's get some kind of quick wins in, and over time you build up more habits, and you end up kind of with a lot more habits that you can integrate into your life. Um, Seeing that visually every day and ticking those off is great, and it's a testament to it that I don't have to do it anymore because a lot of those habits, like drinking enough water every day, come naturally. So it's just part of my everyday life, which proves that the habit tracker does work. Until you've really embedded them. So the habit tracker,
Mm,
having that visually, and like at the end of the month, being able to review, which habits have I done really well at which can I maybe push myself a bit more on, like increasing my step goal. That's what I do. If I was doing
mm,
really well at hitting my steps, or what have I maybe not hit, what's going on here? How can I improve this habit? Is this habit still right for me? Or is there something I need to implement so that I am doing this habit? Um, just seeing it there on a chart is really useful to review. It's like it gives you data, and data is something you can do something with. Um, so that's probably the second thing. And then the third thing is probably what a lot of people say, but it's the community around all of this. So we do different challenges, or you host like a, I want to say webinar because it's more interactive than that, but you either host a challenge every month, or you do like a talk on a
boot
deep
camp.
dive on a
We're
subject.
doing one next
Yeah,
week, aren't we?
yeah, like a workshop or something every month, and not just that, but you have the weekly group calls as well, where you can just come and kind of talk among peers and people who get you and are going through the same thing as you and are obviously in the same program. So it's not just about having those one-to-ones with you, as great as they are, of course. But you've kind of got the peer support as well because you've got a WhatsApp group, you've got the group calls, you've always got someone you can kind of turn to, or you've got a place where you can share your wins or share your struggles. And I think that really helps. And there's always someone who can hold you accountable for something as well. If you even pop in the group, oh, I need extra accountability for this week. I'm struggling with this. There's always someone who kind of is there for you, which is really lovely. Everybody gets you. So just having that around you is just a kind of invaluable part of it, really, I think.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. I had no idea what you were going to share, and I love those
No,
three.
and I
So,
could have picked so many different three things. Like I was thinking, which three shall I actually pick? Because I could talk forever about so many. But yeah,
I
those three.
love that. Amazing. Well, you can talk away all you want after this. I don't mind. So, okay, let's give us a recap and thank you so much for sharing those. So, you've gone from suffering from long COVID, not being able to get out of bed, barely moving at all, using food to cope and check out, and using food as your kind of your stress mechanism, feeling controlled by food and stuck in cycles of that overeating, low energy, not trusting yourself. And now you've achieved well over 20 pounds, but we're currently fluctuating around 20 pounds. Back in control, consistent without effort, I think is the key there.
Yeah,
Moving your body in a way that feels good to you and that you actually want to and doesn't feel like a chore. And actually living your life without being so focused on food being the main thing that you need to be thinking about. And the healthy habits have just become like a backseat, right? They're just part of you. They're who you are. It's how you identify. I'm just someone who does XYZ. So becoming that version of you as a default, right? The version that you
yeah,
wanted to become, just you. And your top three tips are making sure that you're having balanced plates. So the main thing, the main tool that helps you with the magic plates, which is just the framework that we use to create balanced plates for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks so that you're able to um, eat less for fewer calories, but feel satisfied and tide over until the next meal. Tracking habits, but one thing that I picked up there as well, which you didn't specify, but I noticed that you were talking about it, is using that data to actually improve week after week, right? So
Yeah.
not only you're tracking, but you've actually been able to learn exactly how to extrapolate that data and improve over time. And that's how we do
Yeah.
that, right? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And when we do it slowly, when we look at the data, when we release all of the drama and the negativity and all of the shit that we put behind all of those crosses that we don't have ticks, when we're able to use that data, you're able to improve faster. And the community. So in the community, we have challenges and workshops and group coaching calls. There's always someone to turn to who understands you, who gets you, who's not going to judge you, but there's so much accountability in that, in the chat, in the groups, and being able to show up in a space where people are achieving the same goals as you. So it pushes you on and it motivates you even more.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I just think all of it kind of together. And someone listening to this might feel like that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And you feel very supported, and everything's introduced in such a way that it just slowly becomes habit and natural, and it just feels good. And I mean, the main thing for me now is that my body feels better. I'm not saying
Mm.
I'm never going to feel ill again, but when I do, I don't let an illness derail my habits or get me down or anything like that. If I miss a gym session because I'm flued up, I let myself rest. I don't judge myself, and then when I'm well again, I just get up and go back. It's not a big deal, because it's important to think
Amazing.
that we're all going to have those times. No one's never going to get ill or be derailed by something that comes out of the blue. But you just
Yep.
make the best of it at the time, and then you get on with it when you're better again. That's a really big
Yeah.
important thing that's come through for me, is knowing that I don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect in order to succeed.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's really important for a lot of people because that life, exactly as you said, right? Life happens, we get sick. I mean, I'm still at the tail end of a chest infection, right? I go to the gym every day. I eat super clean. I'm always working out. I'm always moving my body. And I still get sick. But the difference is you were someone who would get sick and say, fuck it, and binge eat and have loads of chocolate and crisps and whatever, what have you. But now you're like, okay, I'm going to take the highs with the lows and just carry on as usual, as opposed to spiraling out of control, gaining more weight, then feeling shit, and that whole punishment and shame cycle then just kind
And
of
not
goes
just
on
that,
from there.
actually. You just reminded me, but I used to make it part of my identity. I am a sick person. I have a health condition. I almost like I am long COVID. This is how I am forever. Like I'm always going to be this way. It was like my identity. I was that person. But now, just because
Mhm.
I get ill doesn't mean I'm not the illness. The illness will pass by, and I
Mhm.
will still be me. I'm still the person who will get up and go back to the gym. And I know when you came back from your cruise and you felt like death, I know you had a few days off the gym and you allowed yourself to rest and do what was right for your body. And then when you felt well again, you got up and you went to the gym and all the rest of it. And that's how it should be. It doesn't define us. And I think it allows a lot more self-compassion, and it builds your self-esteem. So it's not just about what you eat on a day-to-day basis. It's about how you see yourself as a person, and kind of giving yourself a little bit of slack when it's needed. And I think that's key. And if you're doing something like a strict diet or calorie counting, it just doesn't work because it doesn't ever allow that flexibility, only ever allows kind of negative judgment of yourself. And I think that's why those things just don't work in the long term. And one thing I haven't mentioned, I'm aware
Calorie,
of time, but I really, really quickly say I had done those things before, like a lot of people, and they didn't work because it was just full of perfectionism and judgment and kind of falling off a wagon and all that kind of thing. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, and calorie counting is a pain in the ass and it's not sustainable. And it's boring
So
as
time
hell, and
consuming,
nobody got
no one
time to
has
count the
time for
calories.
that. I don't have time to
Exactly.
input all these calories, and now I don't have to.
Amazing, amazing. So, is there anything, one last thing that you'd like to say to maybe someone who's on the fence and they're not too sure, maybe they're struggling and they're not too sure whether they're on the fence of getting help and reaching out? What would you say to them?
I would say that there's no bad outcome to doing this. There's just not a bad outcome. It's not, I wouldn't even say take the risk because there's not a risk. Just I mean, if you are watching this or you're following Bianca, it's probably because you want to make changes. So
Mm,
I'd say do it because I don't feel like anyone has ever regretted it. Certainly no one I've been in the group with or anything like that. And you always get a lot more out of it than you think. A lot of people, I imagine, are here just thinking I want to lose weight, but I don't want to be like on a restrictive diet. But then you open up
mm,
this massive can of worms and it changes your whole life. And before we started this recording, we were having a catch up, and I said a lot of the things that you've taught me, I've implemented in other areas of my life, like with my kids, or even in terms of like delegating or like getting my house decorated, things like that. I approach things in a different way now. So I think there's a lot of lessons here that can be taken to other areas of your life. So I think
amazing.
it's definitely worthwhile.
Not just a weight loss program, but a life transformation too.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
What
Awesome.
can I say?
Right.
I don't know what else I can say.
I have no idea. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being open and honest and truthful and sharing your vulnerabilities with the world and with our community.
Yay.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you. I am going to be so sad to not check in with you every week.
Oh, I know.
You're a huge part of our community, but I also am so freaking proud of the person that you've changed and transformed into. You're a beautiful person before, you're a beautiful person now, but so much
Oh,
more control, so much self-respect, so much more self-esteem, so much more discipline, and just naturally, effortlessly being the best version of you at this level. And there's always things that we would like to work on, but I think that your transformation so far has just been absolutely incredible, and I still look forward to hearing all of the things that you continue to change in the future. No, you're an amazing part of our community, and you will be missed. Thank you so much for being with me and being
yay.
here, and I appreciate you. Take care. Bye.